hopefully they'll pick up some workshops in the remainder ones.
But you'll have to train them still.
Yeah, I know, I was like, oh, I stopped to like.
CC where I'm having a motorcycle trip from one.
Where's that?
Oh,
CC.
good.
You know,
And then
they've been running the city since 57 BC.
It's really dark.
Sewer and water. So
workers in.
they figured it out.
Dark out there.
That'll be good.
It's not as dark if you look out that way.
It's to see.
It's just the shades or whatever are pulled
I'm
there.
not afraid of the dark. How's Gina doing?
He's running the storm shelter here.
I haven't seen her for a while.
I didn't know if it rain or not.
We're up in Chisholm last week.
Guess I should have came at 6.
We drove by our parents' house.
It's raining. No, we're just gonna stay here until
Okay.
it dries out.
They don't really go down.
How long is it gonna last, or is this?
Never were built.
Blow through?
You know,
Yeah.
We're just getting started.
friendly, it's just, you know, they tend to stay home,
Yeah.
Bobby and Debbie.
Wow,
Bobby's
it's going
family.
north, so it's gonna take a while. It's not going this way.
Yeah, it's
He would come, he did shop back him up the south side.
straight north.
We'll go White Bear Lake,
Did you not?
raise the levels.
He measured for every single
Last
nail.
month, White Bear Lake went from 22.4, 2/10 of an inch after all that rain. That shows you how much infiltration White Bear Lake has.
All right, it's 7:01, so I'm gonna call the Lake Elmo City Council meeting for Tuesday, June 4th, 2024 to order. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item B is approval of this evening's agenda. If there aren't any exceptions, I'll entertain a motion for that.
Move to approve the agenda?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving this evening's agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Agenda is hereby approved. Approval of minutes for the May 14th, I believe that was a workshop, 2024. If there are no questions regarding that, I'll entertain a motion for approval of those minutes.
So move.
Second?
We have a motion and a second for approval of the May 14th workshop 2024 minutes. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. I'm assuming with the crowd we have this evening, I mean, it's pretty packed, that we don't have any public comments or inquiries. All right, so we move on to presentations. We are honored to have Mr. Marty Powers acting as our Public Works Director for the past 5 years. I know he puts in a lot of hours and there's a lot of things keeping track of, and he's got some good support because with his leadership, we've had one retirement and nobody's left, so he must be doing something right there. And, you know, we've had water main breaks, trees come down, we might have some down with the storm tonight. You guys get to pay attention to, you know, snow plowing, not so bad this year. A couple years ago, pretty bad, right? So, helps keep our budget on track with overtime and salt usage and all that equipment, and make sure that we have good equipment for the public works guys to use and take care of our wonderful city. And every day he travels. I don't know when he's gonna move over here, but he lives in Wisconsin. So with that, we'd like to present Marty with his 5-year certificate of appreciation. If you guys wanna come up with me.
Mr. Suit.
Hey, thanks. Best signature. These are you too.
You guys can come up too if you want to get a closer picture.
Appreciate it.
Way to go, Marty. That's nice. I'm glad you had a good
All right, moving on, we have a small consent agenda this evening. I'll read through the consent agenda items, which is approve payment of disbursements, accept quotes and award contract for the 2024 crack seal project, accept Met Council water efficiency grant, accept Don Raleigh memorial donation to the fire department, resolution 2024-072, approve cable caster agreement, and approve payroll and compensation policy update. Can I get I'll entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approval for the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, consent agenda is approved. Moving on to our one solo regular agenda item is approve a task order with SRF for crosswalk study and policy development.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. If you may recall, on the April 9th council workshop, the council discussed the idea of a crosswalk policy and provided direction to Director Powers and myself to work on a crosswalk policy based on a couple of examples that the city had been looking at. We reached out to SRF and had a couple scoping meetings with them about how to develop those policies. SRF was familiar with the policy examples that the council had cited. And so we were working with them on a scope. And while we were working on that scope, it also occurred to us that the area that we were really getting a lot of complaints and input on was the 39th Street Laverne corridors, which kind of, in my opinion, fall in that gray area of some roads are higher volume, Hudson Boulevard, crosswalks are kind of obvious. Get into residential neighborhoods, it's kind of obvious you don't put them there. This kind of got to our gray area, and so we asked for a scope of work from SRF to actually review that corridor and do an actual crosswalk study, do counts, things like that, bring those forward to the council. And in that live example, we would then develop that policy using those examples that we had done. So rather than just come up with a policy that was unused and untested and adopt that, we thought we would study the corridor all at one time. So we're bringing to you a proposal from SRF to complete that study and help us develop that policy. The fee is not to exceed $22,000.
Questions for Jack? Okay. If there aren't any questions for Jack,
I do have a
you
question.
do have a question. There you go.
Do you have a map of where this is? I'm trying to picture 39th and,
Starts over here at Lake Elmo Avenue by Arbor Glen and goes, kind of comes out on the other side of Lake Elmo Bank.
oh, okay. Isn't that part of the old village? And would that
Yeah,
not, would this not fall underneath our, the old village moratorium work that we're doing right now?
The moratorium work is for development. This would be just, we're just studying for crosswalk markings on the roadways.
Is there any way to combine them?
Combined with the,
Yeah, I mean, aren't we studying trails and pathways and movement of pedestrians as part of the old village moratorium? Would this not kind of fit in with that?
I think a crosswalk policy is a little bit different. I mean, you have a developed corridor that's already got sidewalks and trails on it. The only outstanding question along 39th Street in Laverne would be, as both these roadways have been done recently, would be whether they're to be marked or not be marked. So that, really, the study really is to look at these specific corridors as they are today and as they're being used, the current volumes that are being used there, and whether marking of the crosswalks is an appropriate treatment at this time.
Okay, question with that.
Yes, Councilman Hearn.
So with the study, with the completion date by December 31st, I guess just trying to understand as far as like when the studies would be conducted, I'm just thinking during the summer months is obviously when the pedestrian traffic is gonna be a little bit higher. Would they be doing the studies later in the year just because they're too busy to do it this summer, or would they be able to get those in this summer?
No, the studies would be the first thing out of the gate to do and do the counts. And that's really, I do expect this to be completed before December 31st. The study itself will be done probably in the summer, and then working through the policy, we're trying to work in a couple of different workshops, so there's more interaction with the council on the actual policy that gets adopted broadly throughout the city.
Yeah, okay, perfect. I think that would be an important aspect. I guess maybe that's discussion, but
Yeah.
we'll leave it for that.
Jack, it's also part of the study to help improve the walkability of the old village and make the downtown more accessible or more easily accessible?
Well, this study's not looking at additional sidewalks and trails and different corridors. This is just really looking at the treatment policy of the existing intersections. And so the two corridors you're looking at have trails and sidewalks on both sides of the roads and they've both been recently done in the last 10 years as far as new roadways. And to date, we've unmarked them, and the requests from the residents have become, we should mark them, and this is where we're not sure. if
And my
that's
thought
the
was just by
appropriate
marking them, more people would be willing to use them if they believe the pedestrian crossings were safer.
treatment. I think that's one of the arguments that's out there, yeah.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve task order number 9 with SRF Inc. to conduct a pedestrian crosswalk study and develop a crosswalk policy in the not-to-exceed amount of $22,000.
Second.
All right, discussion. Yeah, go ahead. Councilmember Hearn.
Well, if you can go.
Or,
Yeah.
Holtz, Holtz, Hearn. Trying to read and do two things at once.
I agree with this. I think it's a good use of our funds in this case, as this has been really a citizen-led drive. And they've been pushing with staff, they've been pushing with council as well. So to me, it's a good step at this point, and I do look forward to seeing what that data does show, because that will help to make sure that our decisions are also data-driven. But yeah, this is a win-win.
I'll just add to that, I guess kind of off my question, I just think it's gonna be very important that the study gets done this summer for the reason I brought up kind of in my question with the higher volume. But then also just from the aspect of, I really wanna make sure that we're able to keep moving forward, as we're looking with the, Old Village, plan as well. I wanna be able to keep that rolling, and, I think we don't necessarily need to have this completed. I think just knowing that it's in the works and kind of how it could play into it's gonna be plenty to keep moving forward with that. But I just think the faster we can move these things, the better.
Councilmember Beckstrom.
I was reflecting back on the council meeting where we first discussed crosswalks and the plan for that. And as I recall from that discussion, I don't think there was general consensus that we wanted to put a lot of resources towards this or funding towards this at this point, because it's not something that was on our priority list, and we've got other things going on. I know there's a fair amount of discussion about going back to, was it the Parks group or plan? I can't remember which group. And so it was my understanding that the direction was really to come up with that policy. So I'm not thrilled about $22,000 for a crosswalk study, to be perfectly honest with you, at this point, and again, coming from our general fund. I would rather see this budgeted for next year and completing the study in 2025 versus building it in this year. Again, I'm not sure that this rises to the level of a priority at this point, given everything else we have going on, the Old Village moratorium study going on, the funding one in there. So while I don't necessarily disagree to do a study, I think the timing on this is not right, so.
Okay, thank you. I guess from my point of view, given the amount of attention that, or the amount of calls that Marty or Jack get in various areas of the city, not just 39th, requesting crosswalks, maybe in neighborhoods and things like that. A lot of times we don't have a factual or something to stand on other than maybe an FHWA study that talks about the proper use of crosswalks in areas. And I think in order to develop a policy, you need to have some actual factual data to work off of. In order to do that, that's the great thing about using consultants, is that your staff has very limited time encompassing these types of things. When you have something that pops up, you have a consultant take care of that. I do understand the use of general funds, but we're all, I feel like we're tasked with answering to the public and making sure that our residents are safe and feel safe. And to that extent, I think this is a good step moving forward. Anything? All right. With that, I'll call the question. All those in favor to approve task order with SRF for crosswalk study and policy development, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Motion passes 4-1. And that's kind of it for the big agenda items, so we can move into council reports. Councilmember Dragisich.
Nothing to report this evening.
Councilmember Holtz.
Nothing for reports. I was just going to offer thanks to Mr. Clark Schroeder, because I know he's not serving tonight as our city administrator, but thank you for the transition. And welcome to Ms. Miller for your first meeting up here. Looking forward to the time.
Well said. I ditto those comments. I would like to put a reminder, if people are watching out there, 4th of July Kitty Parade is still happening this year in Lake Elmo, so be on the lookout for Facebook posts, whether it's from Connecting Lake Elmo or there's a new route this year, so be advised on that. We're trying to make it safer for everybody, and we're eliminating the crossing of the railroad. So that's one thing. And I didn't want to pull it from the consent agenda, but I did want to point out that, Don Raleigh, who was one of the original, well, he wasn't original with Lake Elmo Bank, but he's been a part of Lake Elmo Bank, and Lake Elmo Bank has they have every year, they have a big community picnic at their bank, and I do think that they're part of the community, and I just wanted to thank them for making that donation to the fire department on behalf of Mr. Raleigh, who passed away a couple weeks ago. And so that's what I'll end with. Councilmember Beckstrom.
No report.
Councilmember Hearn.
No report.
All right, staff reports.
Okay.
Ms.
Well,
Miller.
Thank you. Day 2 here, and so I just wanted to say thanks to all the staff that I've met with so far. Everyone has been really patient and welcoming, and I'm looking forward to meeting with the rest of the staff soon as well.
Julie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to remind residents to go to the city's website or reach out to me directly, and we can get you signed up for the city's weekly newsletter, The Fresh. There's a lot going on this time of year, road construction, events, all sorts of fun things, a lot of information that we get out to residents on a weekly basis. So it's a great way to stay connected and find out what's going on, and also follow our social media page on Facebook.
Carissa?
I have no reports.
So the village study survey was released on Friday, and so far we have 340 responses
Right. So people can find that where?
on the website. So they can go to Departments, Planning and Zoning, and there's a tab, and they can take the survey there too. Just want to remind everyone that the first open house will be on June 13th and the second on June 20th.
Great. Thank you. I was hoping you would say something about that. Mr. Schroeder?
Yes, if we could get the screen to show the presentation here. This is for the residents at home. There's going to be a very significant road closing starting on Wednesday the 12th for approximately 2 weeks. So, and we're going to be closing Highway 14. You can see here in this little area. I'll show you a close-up map. This is just west of downtown. This is by the old barn there for the Shulkin Farm. They're basically bringing a sewer line across on the, on this little west side here. And they have to go 24 feet deep to dig this through, and they have to do water, and they have to do gas, and there's telecommunications in there. And so there'll be signage starting this week over in the, over by the cloverleafs, over here on 694, and also on the roundabouts. And, but it's gonna be brutal, because if you have to get to the other side of downtown from here, you have to go all the way up to 694, up to 36, and then come back down on 17. So this will be a significant issue, and we will highlight this in the Fresh. I would encourage you to also subscribe to the Fresh with Ms. Johnson there, and we'll also be posting it on our website to make sure people are aware of this. So, sorry, but that's what has to happen when you develop.
Thank you. Director Powers?
I just want to let the council know that due to them approving the vac truck recently, we have used it more than we wanted already. We had some major power outages. Royal Gulf South, the lift station, went out on a weekend, holiday weekend, and staff wasn't able to correct the issue. We had to call in electricians. That took time, so we ended up using the vac truck to maintain. So it's already been used more than we wanted, and we've been helping out fire department, and we've been cleaning some traps and stuff. So the guys are getting used to it, and it's very much appreciated. So
Great. Good to hear. It's going to good use. Chief?
Just to offer my congratulations to some staff over the weekend. We had 6 staff participating in various state certifications. Our 2 firefighters that were in the firefighter 1 and 2 class both passed their state certification. And then we had 4 of our firefighters pass the state certification for fire apparatus operator. So 6 certifications on Saturday. It's a great number, good effort by our staff. I do want to thank the people that helped out with our missing person search. Great partners with the Washington County Sheriff. We supported their efforts in the search. Reach out to our citizen volunteers. And we had folks from Oakdale Police and Fire, Regions EMS, Lakeview Ambulance, Lifelink Helicopter, the State Patrol, Salvation Army, New Richmond Area Ambulance, the Sheriff's Explorers, Ramsey County Sheriff, North St. Paul PD, Maplewood PD. The list goes on. So it took a lot, and in 24 hours, we had a successful outcome.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. With that, remind our residents to sign up for Code Red. If they are not a part of that emergency notification system, they can find that information on the city's website. That was crucial in getting proper information and timely information out to those people that through that notification system for that event. And then also express my appreciation and thanks to the Raleigh family and Lake Hummel Bank for thinking of us in this difficult time. I met with his son and Don's wife just the other day. I'll be bringing another resolution because we've gotten another large amount of donations through that memorial fund. So
Great.
very, very appreciative of that.
So can that Code Red also be found on the Washington County website?
Yep.
Okay, good. Good to know. Thanks. Jack?
Yeah, this afternoon we had a pre-construction meeting for the 30th Street project, so that's a reclaim project occurring between Lisbon Avenue and basically Village Parkway on just south of the Northport development. So it's not a full closure, but again, next Wednesday at about the same time, that construction's gonna begin, and they'll be doing that reclaim machine. So a lot of the people coming out of Easton Village and Northport will be traversing over gravel for a few weeks and so forth. So just another heads up on some more construction.
Yep, thanks. Sarah?
No report.
All right. With that, that's all we have on tonight's agenda, and probably one of the shortest council meetings I've ever been a part of. So 7:24, we'll adjourn the city council meeting. Have a good night.